try number 5. Let me really try to just do this. So, this is going to be about my clinical trial that I just ran. I know technically, like obviously it's not a clinical trial, but that's what I'm calling it. And that's what I was thinking about calling it before I even did it. If you want any more information about different things that I've done and tried, some of those videos aren't listed and they're in another playlist, but majority of them are in my playlist titled How to Know If You Have Mitochondrial Dysfunction or something like that. Although I've moved on from just like the mitochondrial dysfunction term to hypothalamus dysfunction, which of course is all iatrogenic. And that causes like really everything and just about everything you could think of, to be honest. And this can even go into my psychotropic drug truth playlist. I think that's what it's titled. And I know like what should be the first video in that playlist is also like one of the first ones, I think, in my mitochondrial dysfunction playlist. In that video, you'll see how I went from before the drugging, during the drugging, and like going into the type 2 diabetes / metabolic syndrome weight, and going really above 120, although a lot of that weight was bowel impaction weight. So like, I mean, when I got in the scale, I'm not really sure how much, if it was like, I don't know, fat and muscle, or I guess more so like, will it really just be fat? Not like I was quote unquote fat. Like America has really changed around the meaning of the word fat to mean something bad, and people think that being skinny is a good thing when that's the same thing and actually worse. So when I say fat, I don't mean like the different stupid bullcrap people think when they hear that. I'm just saying that like once I got the type 2 metabolic syndrome from the iatrogenics, I was actually a pretty muscular person, even though I like was really small, because I always like climbed trees and stuff my whole life. I was like way stronger than even people way older than me. Like I was beating up grown men at 12 and even younger than that, but that all changed during the drugging. And so my point with that is like, I would say once I really went into the metabolic syndrome weight, I really like, it replaced my muscle with fat, it seemed. And then when I went into what I'm calling the pancreatic burnout effects, and I dropped down to 80 pounds and had been stuck there, I lost the muscle and the fat. Or well, I already had been lost the muscle, so I just lost the fat that was left over. And that had its own effects. And people don't even actually know all the different things that come from just being underweight, aside from the whatever caused you to become underweight, and then you get other side issues from being underweight. And so anywho, now to start reading this, because I think that was everything I needed to say, I think. But anywho, that video shows me going from how I was before to being kind of overweight eventually, but that wasn't even really the issue. Just getting the iatrogenic effects and the side effects in general, and then like going to severely underweight. And I don't even know if I really talk about the medical gaslighting on here. I know like on the abuse evidence channels that was like always a topic, especially near the end. Like the more sick I really got and the more like it kind of got like too much, but I don't really know how much I've talked about that on this channel. But anywho, so first I'm going to start off by reading my quote unquote brain control map. That's just what I titled it, but I'm not really going to go into that. So 2/18/26 and 2/19/26, I took these notes: frontal lobe, word retrieval, paraphasia. Now I took those notes because more so during the situation, especially due to house mold toxicity and carbon monoxide poison, like me and my relatives, also due to I'm pretty sure the Leviathan spirit as well, just with like all the different quote unquote narc abuse stuff that was going on, we were having a lot of trouble like with our words and screwing stuff up. And even like a while after escaping, as I always call it, because that's what it was, I still had like a lot of issues with that type of stuff. Now, not so much anymore. Like, I was really like in a full-blown like dementia type mode almost before I ran away. I sounded like Joe Biden half the time. But now I do have issues still where like I'm trying to write, but then I write something else. But I think that's also like just due to the general brain fog of like a brain being in starvation mode due to metabolic issues and not being able to like make energy or not make enough energy from food, and my body being like in this starvation mode state, which I will say I really do wish I still had the pictures from a video that I had made during maybe the part 5 channel, maybe the part 1, and it was a picture of like my older siblings on my mom's side from when they were younger. I mean, crap, even a picture of like some of them now. They went through the usual abuse essay, some of them anyways, but all of them went through abuse, of course. Going through the cash for kids system and even the human cash cow systems into like adulthood, being forced on all those different drugs, becoming severely underweight, also the starvation abuse, of course getting the metabolic syndrome weight, which some of them, well, one of them eventually got stuck with. That's a long story, but my point of mentioning that is that like even before I had got sick, I would often think about like that whole situation with them. But it's like now I do think about it because it's like something I realized a long time ago was that growing up getting starved or barely getting to eat, or growing up like eating a lot of like fake processed carby bull crap, that gives people diabetes. Starvation causes diabetes as well. And like even people who never go through like the trogenic stuff, although it's pretty common, especially it's really common these days in general. Like if you have abusive parents, they're these days like just throwing somebody into the cash for kids system and the mental health system, which is a part of all the human cash cow system branches. It's so easy that like, I mean, you're lucky if you can find an abuser who won't do it. But it starts in the school system as well, because oftentimes the first label somebody will get is the bad boy, the bad black boy with ADHD label, and that starts them on a path of being drugged on heroin, meth pills that are actually worse than heroin and meth, to be honest. But I mention this because like I think about how some of my siblings never did get out of being severely underweight. Like after a while, it's kind of just something that you're like stuck with, and it causes so many other issues, not to mention the brain starvation in and of itself can eventually lead to dementia and schizo and all types of stuff, or just worse, DID and OSDD splitting. And the ones that did gain weight, it was because of getting pregnant. One kept it, but they also got into like a better situation for themselves in general. The other one, it eventually just went away again, but then she was also driven insane by relatives and forced back on drugs for a while, so it's just a lot of stuff with that. But it's kind of like, people just don't talk about that. And like even during the abuse evidence channels, I would often talk about the effects of like not being allowed to go outside. Like when you're not allowed to go outside, that can cause you to also get this like pretty much starvation induced type diabetes. Like if you're not getting to eat, you're not getting to go outside, or you are getting to eat and you're not getting to go outside, you're not going to have like the muscle mass you need, and it's just going to cause all types of issues. And it's like all types of people are just like really skinny and scrawny these days. And I know like I hate the not manipulative, I meant to say mind control more. Well, I guess I didn't finish saying it, but I was about to. Let me just keep going. The mind control black and white labels, but the quote-unquote black community, I feel like especially like not even really just there, like even with just younger people, it's really common to like see a lot of like really scrawny, sick looking people, and it's just so normalized. Like I also think that's why like typically people think I'm like, or they claim to think I'm like 11 to 14, although I would still be really small for any of those ages really. But now that I'm back in the South, people claim to think I'm 38. I mention this a lot lately because it's like something that constantly comes up. People claiming to think that I'm 32 or 38 or maybe the youngest 28, but typically like 32 or 38, which is really interesting to me. But I think that just goes to show like how people are too used to seeing like scrawny people that are way too underdeveloped for their age and just way too underweight as well. Because I mention pretty often I'm underweight, but I'm also pretty underdeveloped as well. And those are two separate things actually, but going together hand in hand, that can be bad, but it's also kind of like, but it kind of depends though, because it's like if you're underweight, but you're also underdeveloped, depending on like how that goes, it may not really be easy to tell, because it's like, how do I put this? Like, for example, somebody who did like go through physical development enough to be like, I don't know, like maybe 5'9" or something. So like they're not necessarily underdeveloped. They did get like to a certain height, but they're underweight. That's actually worse because that's easier to tell than if they were underdeveloped and they weren't 5'9". Maybe they were like 4'8" or something and 80 pounds. That would be different and less noticeable. But then of course if they were to say like, oh, I'm 30, then people be like, well, then that would be like something to wonder about. But hopefully that made sense of what I'm trying to say. Like, sometimes being underdeveloped and underweight together can cancel like things out where people really can't tell, but then sometimes it doesn't. And hopefully that made sense. I don't know if it did. In fact, it reminds me of something during the smear campaign and all the missing persons reports, where like my weight and height would be wrong, and literally all of them. And which honestly I would rather for it to claim that I'm like 90-something pounds and 99 pounds and 80, but I mean I kind of wish 99 isn't good either, but I mean that would be better. But I mean, well, not, because since running away I did get to like 94, but that's the most I could get at. But of course 94 really means 87. I mean, it's something. It's better than like my previous situation, but it's still kind of whatever the heck. So maybe I should just title this video Insecure. But that's kind of a joke though, because I mean, this is like a realistic, like, not good issue. But anywho, what was it? Oh yeah, but going back to what I was just saying. So I remember one of the missing persons reports said that I was that I was 6 foot something, and it's like, who in the world? And then somebody was like, if you were 6 feet and 80 pounds, you'd be a stick on the ground. I'm not gonna lie, I'm 5'0" though, but, which actually I just found out that I was 5'0" like a little while ago. I was getting lied to throughout my life, but I'm not gonna go into that. So, next bullet point, because nothing I just said for the past however many minutes had jack to do with what I wrote down for the brain control map thing. Hypothalamus, and I wrote autonomic nervous system, immune, leptin. It sounded like the lady said pituitary, but I think she said no, I'm screwing stuff up. That's not, it wasn't that part, it was another part. All lower endocrine glands, thyroid, adrenals, ovaries, testes, where am I? Pancreas, and then pineal, but I don't think she actually said pineal gland, which is like, it's like the part of your brain that they get you to drink that fluoride to like crystallize it or something, so you can't hear from the Most High to cause other issues. And they also give it to people in gate / gifted, but I think she said pineal, not, kind of like, well, I don't know. What do I want to say? What do I not want to say? I don't know. But I'm pretty sure she probably didn't say pineal gland. Although I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think so. That's just what it sounded like. But it's hard to pronounce too, I feel. I guess pineal does sound a little bit different than pineal. Somewhat. Brain function, metabolism, circadian rhythm, thermal regulation, which goes into what's that thing called? Homeostasis. Yeah, that's what it's called. Psychotropics mess all that up, and you do get permanent iatrogenic brain damage, which causes all types of issues, and people even get colon cancer and all types of stuff. Appetite, which this is what it controls, by the way, if I didn't make that clear. Appetite, what in the world does this say? Oh, mood. I thought it said Makai. Mood, memory, controls every vital system of the body. Electrolytes, also urination and stuff like that. Another bullet point. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the body and has its own DNA. One of the things that I really started to think a lot about once I got away from the gaslighting, or most of the gaslighting, at least from my previous abusers and stuff, one of the things that really stuck out to me that I kept thinking about is the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. People always say that, like, that's irrelevant and that, like, nobody needs to know that stuff, but even before I really started doing research, even before I started, like, doing stuff to cure some of my issues, because I have cured half my issues, like, the SIBO and stuff like that. I cured that with dog meds. I have a video about that. I cured that in 2024 or something like that. But I just thought about that a lot because, like, it goes into a lot of things, and I was just thinking about, like, that, fatigue, feeling tired all the time, falling asleep all the time. That was also before I knew that, like, I was having blood sugars in the 50s or at 50. But yeah, so affects homeostasis equals can't take artificial light, which I also recently, like the other day, one video I watched mentioned how, like, light, like sunlight, also controls your leptin levels, which I find interesting, and I feel like this can even go along with, like, the artificial light issues. But another thing with that is that mold toxicity, which all buildings pretty much have mold, and some people can take it, some people can't, but mold toxicity can also affect, like, how you react to artificial light. Like, artificial light can make you sick. The white walls in the house, that can also make you sick. I should throw that in there, because when you have, like, these iatrogenic brain damage type issues, or, like, these drug side effects while on the drugs and mold toxicity, the artificial light, the white walls inside of buildings, all that causes, like, some weird issues. And then also, like, the walls almost appear yellow. Like, you can't, due to, like, the effects of the brain damage, especially from the mold toxicity, you can't really tell the color white from the color yellow when it comes to walls. It's hard to explain, but, like, there's probably a name for it. I have heard people talk about this when it comes to mold toxicity, but you have to, like, do your own research. Living indoors, etc. So, like, one thing that I noticed when compared to, like, living indoors compared to, I already said that, living outside, is that, like, when I'm indoors, it's like, it's typically really hot to me. It's either, like, too cold or too hot. Typically too hot, but, like, when I'm outside, unless it's, like, literally, like, really hot, like 90 degrees or something, or it's, like, freezing cold, it's actually easier for me to regulate my body temperature being outside. Like, one thing that I noticed, this is actually kind of funny. So before I ran away, I was, like, packing my bags and stuff, and I was like, I need to figure out how to get my battery powered fan in here. And am I about to go on a trauma dump? Well, okay, hold up, wait a minute, let me, like, not say some stuff, because I don't want to, like, go off topic too much, but anyhow, I always needed a fan to go to sleep, especially since I started getting drugged, because that screwed up, like, my homeostasis, obviously, as, like, kind of, like, talking about. So, like, I could not regulate body temperature. From the moment of being on the drugs, from mid-12 to early 14, I always needed a fan, and before I left, I was thinking that, like, I would need it, but of course I was like, what in the world? I'm not even going to be able to plug this up anywhere. Now, I'm not going to lie, since I do still have these leftover issues, when I was in Cali and I went to the Youth Resource Center, they were nice enough to actually order me a rechargeable fan that also had a light on it, and I would use that back when I had a tent. Outside of a tent, I don't really need that anyway. So like, I did still have these issues, but like, once I got outdoors, it wasn't as bad. But when I was indoors, I always needed a fan. Like, I needed like a fan on high all night long, and even during the day, because I would just get so hot indoors. There was also like a lot of like covert narc crazy making behavior abuse, where like that video I still have actually, when my mom had put the house on like 95 degrees for Christmas, and then she was like, yeah, we gotta go because the AC unit is broke, and she claimed it was due to her arthritis. I was throwing up and everything. I had to get out of there. I slept outside. I don't even know how in the world. We all had to leave eventually, but that's a long story. But yeah, so there was also that didn't help, but being indoors is just not it. And when you have homeostasis issues, you're gonna have issues with regulating body temperature and stuff like that. Controls fertility, libido, detoxification, cognition, and aging. I didn't even think about this the first time I tried to record this, which was actually like a month ago, maybe, I guess, or maybe at the beginning, I don't know. But when it comes to detoxification, just now reading this again, it makes me think about how like when I really started to get sicker and I stopped being able to digest food really, or it got noticeable anyways, and the mold toxicity and carbon monoxide poison was bad in the house, I couldn't detoxify, and I found that out through research I started doing back when I was still in Cali. Like activated charcoal, I have a video or two or maybe more where I talk about how that helped with all types of issues. Like, I used to have like a lot of crazy pelvic floor dysfunction pain. Like, I had all types of stuff going on. Like, the doctors claimed that they thought that I was getting starved and sodomized and pregnant with an STD and getting SA'd at home. They claimed to think that, but they did nothing because they didn't care. But I had pelvic floor dysfunction, which I had found out the term pelvic floor dysfunction then, but I hadn't done research on binders and stuff like that, or mold toxicity and how like the mold and stuff, and even other metabolic waste like binds to your bladder wall, and even like your your colon too. But what's the other thing called? I don't think it's your rectum. Is it your rectum? The anal wall? That doesn't sound. I don't know. It's something like that. But yeah. So anywho, like, it causes like pain, and then it's also something to do with like MCAS, mast cells, chemical sensitivity, interstitial cystitis. I typically can't pronounce it, but bladder pain syndrome is another name for it, which is still separate from the actual pelvic floor pain I used to have. But also, since like my nerves and my bowels and stuff were messed up from the bowel impactions, and even like the digestion issues that I was given, and the gastroparesis, motility issues type stuff, like, a lot of pain is actually referred pain, which is actually worse in women. Referred pain can be worse in women, way worse. Like, due to like the nerve issues, like, I would be having pain like in my colon, but it would feel like it was in my stomach. I'd be having pain in my stomach, but it would like refer down to like my bladder and other stuff. But I was able to fix those issues eventually with activated charcoal, and it's like, I wish I would have known like way back when that all I had to do was like drink activated charcoal, because like I still remember this one day, which I still have a video or a couple of videos of this actually, this situation that went down, or talking about it, when I was in the Jim Crow self-confined placement. Like, I started having like really bad pelvic floor pains out of nowhere. This was back when I still used to think that like I had somehow gotten like some really bad UTI, but I wasn't able to get treatment for it. That's what I was thinking, but it wasn't a UTI. But these types of issues can also cause UTIs, and there's something else that I can't remember the name of. I think, yeast infection, which goes hand in hand with, kind of choking, but it goes hand in hand with diabetes type issues too, because of like kidney stuff that I can't really remember, and like sugar building up in your bladder. But anyhow, so to get to the point, like, I was going through a lot of abuse in the Jim Crow self-confined placement, but also I was in like extreme pain this one day. And like I would sometimes not be able, well, not sometimes, I often wouldn't be able to like walk or sit down. Sitting down would hurt. Laying down would hurt. And laying on my stomach also used to hurt. And it's like, I guess maybe that's why like people would try to make it into some trauma thing. Luckily I wasn't getting sodomized at home because nobody gave a crap. Being the doctors and other mandated reporter type people that made up these accusations. But yeah, so that was because of pretty much metabolic waste building up in the bladder and in the colon and stuff. That's the summary of that. And so now I think about how like hypothalamus dysfunction or damage can cause detoxification issues because it controls detoxification. And even just like the pancreas and liver and kidney issues that you get from being forced on drugs and from being malnourished due to not being able to break down food and get and make energy from food, that can also mess up your detoxification. And so that's that for my intro page, I guess I could call it. So first I'm going to read a couple of notes. One thing that I started to think about a long time ago, I would often wonder, I feel like this can maybe also be due to like spiritual warfare dreams, but I typically remember my dreams, so but I would often wonder why I would sometimes like wake up just feeling depressed and hopeless. And so the conclusion that I started to come to a long time ago, even before I started checking my blood sugar, but I think, or maybe in the beginning, maybe in the beginning, I would be like, well, maybe my blood sugar is dropping in my sleep, or it's dropping as soon as I wake up, one of the two. So that's just a side note. If you wake up depressed or feeling hopeless or whatever, maybe your blood sugar is dropping in your sleep, maybe your blood sugar is dropping when you wake up, which can actually be more due to like POT/dysautonomia, hypothalamus dysfunction type issues, and even just like metabolic blood sugar issues. But of course, hypothalamus dysfunction causes metabolic issues and the different types of diabetes, which there's a lot of different types of people aren't told about, aside from even just the ADHD. I believe even actual schizo, not the stuff for like when you don't believe something that some white person wants you to believe you're schizo, not that, but like actual schizo, aside from obviously the trauma DID side, that's definitely diabetes, no different than dementia and Alzheimer's. And Parkinson's, which, you get Parkinson's from psychotropics as well, but in fact, I even remember Pastor Stephen Darby in one video even said that he believes Parkinson's is caused by pharmakia spirits, but anywho, it's definitely caused by brain damage from drugs/chemicals. Dexcom Stelo, because it's non-prescription. These are some notes that I have at the top of the page. That's what I used. Oh yeah, I had been wanting to try to figure out how to get a CGM for years now. It's really expensive, but I had scraped up some money to get one. I feel like it's definitely more expensive than even getting like the finger prick. The finger prick is really expensive too, especially like getting the new test strips and stuff. That's why like I did that like during November 2024 to like December 2025, or maybe into early December 2025, but that was too expensive and I didn't have money to like keep getting test strips and stuff. But it's also kind of like, still, what's really the point though? Because it's like, even if my blood sugar is low, or maybe it's high one day, there's nothing I can really do about it. So I feel like checking it kind of just makes me like paranoid and want to check it more, but it doesn't really do anything. But it was good to like do back then, just to like prove stuff that I had been wondering about, and like get over the gaslighting about how I'm quote unquote fine, well being everything but that. You're fine, but your blood sugar's at 50. Not that the doctors didn't know that. I remember like before I escaped my previous situation, I was being told that I had low A1C, because I went from the type 2 high A1C to low A1C. So BS equals blood sugar. I think I just wrote that for me actually. I'm trying to really see what does this say? Hold. So I think I can start reading now. 1. Why? I wanted to prove my theory that I don't have high / my blood sugar is never higher than it should be, just lower, or that I just have lows. I also wanted to prove, or see rather, my nervous system was reacting to not even just like having lows or possible highs, but if it was reacting to rapidly rising or rapidly dropping, which is funny because the CGM actually literally will say rapidly rising or rapidly dropping, which it did say rapidly dropping pretty often. And that's what I also wondered about, like, am I really reacting to it being low, or am I reacting to it going down because my nervous system is already screwed up? So is it just reacting to it like going down? Like, because I would even notice during the finger prick, now to think about it, that like my blood sugar would be at like a regular whatever, but I would still be feeling all types of ways. But I also know that some of that is due to the POTS and not even the blood sugar, which I found out, which is another thing as well. I also wanted to know, like, what else is dysautonomia? Like, is my blood sugar really always low when I feel this way, or is it sometimes just, or do I sometimes just feel this way because of like the POTS type issues and like sitting down too long and blood sugar, not blood sugar. Now I'm dissociating. What was it? What was I saying? Oh yeah, I meant to say blood circulation, because I was like, wait a minute, hold up, what am I talking about? But yeah, blood circulation, I mean. But then again though, it does remind me of something else that I used to think even before I had like did research in the hypothalamus, dysautonomia, and POTS. I would sometimes wonder, like, I mean, I know that I definitely have circulation issues, so is it like, does sitting down too long cause like too much sugar to build up or something? And there's also that side to it as well, but now I know even like a deeper side to that. And in my pre-vid, I have some screenshots that I'm probably going to edit in for the beginning of this video, where actually I looked back and I was like, I did not pay attention to my comments from my mitochondrial dysfunction videos, because like some dude in the comments literally mentioned dysautonomia or POTS to me. And when I was thinking about that, when I had first tried to make this video and I went back to those comments or those videos and I saw those comments, I thought about it and I was like, you know what? When you research psychotropic side effects, you literally see dysautonomia. So yeah. Anywho, there's that. And so status is proven for all of those. And I forgot to mention, I could never really get a good answer out of anybody about what blood sugar is too high. Like, I can never really get an answer out of that. Like, every time I would try to research it, I would always hear when you're fasting, insulin is this, and when you're obese and you're eating too much. I would just hear stupid American anti-fat, don't eat fat, stupid stuff, bullcrap. And this starve yourself stupid stuff. I never like could get any like realistic answers. And I think that's the good thing about AI that people don't talk about, because it's like, I've actually researched a lot of things that I had wanted to know. It definitely does lie a lot, but it's like I could finally figure out how to like get straight answers that I've been looking for a lot of things that I could never get out of anybody, like for Jack Diddley. But specifically for computer science and learning how to code and health type stuff, you can even actually put your medical test into that, which I had been wanting to do for a while, and I finally remembered to do it. It's just like I talk about in the other videos how I have found out how to like scrape up money to pay for my own blood work and urine test, even without having an ID at Quest and LabCorp. But I went to Quest through walk-in labs, and I did that. That was a while ago. That was like way over a year ago. I mentioned that in my first couple mitochondrial playlist videos, and it's just like I kept forgetting my password, and I procrastinate. That's what it was. So I was trying to make a whole excuse. Okay, what was I talking about? I was getting to a point, but I don't remember what it was. Oh yeah, so I think it was blood sugar that's like, I don't think it was 140. Maybe it was like 150 or 180 or higher. I wrote it down somewhere, but I don't remember where. And another thing also is that you're only having to pee all the time due to blood sugar if your blood sugar is high, supposedly. But if your blood sugar isn't high, then it's not because of blood sugar, supposedly. But I remember I seen like well over a year ago that having to pee all throughout the night is because of dumping, like blood sugar dumping. But more recently, before I started doing the clinical trial, as I'm calling it, I seen that you're only peeing due to blood sugar issues if your blood sugar is high. So I was also like, okay, so if I do this CGM thing and my blood sugar isn't high, then I'm not having to pee a lot because of that. I'm having to pee a lot because of the IC bladder pain. Also, like, before I started taking the HCl, I had bad, like, IC issues, but it helped. Like, the HCl and the enzymes helped, but then after a while, they started to, like, make it worse. But I don't take it all the time anymore anyways, because I don't really have to like that. But, what was the other thing with that? It was something else. It was IC and it was something else. I don't know. So, 2. Why? See if my neurological symptoms were more blood sugar, POTS, dysautonomia related. Although all of this goes back to trogenic brain damage and hypothalamus damage. A. Or this is just like how I separated on the notes. Status. Neurological. Reason 1. My BS is more regulated lately. And I'm not at 50 ml DL every day, all day, like I was before. And go over in mitochondrial dysfunction playlist. Oh, that's my notes to go over the mitochondrial dysfunction playlist. Okay, so my BS is also never higher than it should be, typically. Unless I eat something that I really shouldn't, like IHOP, which I'm going to go into, which, I don't eat fast food anyways, but I went there like one night because it was cold. I thought they were going to make me buy something to go inside and just like sit in there, but people don't really do that around here. Like, I'm starting to realize more and more, being in California and constantly getting the police called on me all day, every day, like I couldn't even do anything, was actually really traumatizing. Like, now, it even makes you think about how like people who say they haven't been homeless in 10 years, they talk about how it's really hard to shake off the homeless identity. It's like, even though I'm like in the South now and like I don't have any of that bullcrap happen that I was used to, like having people like run in bathrooms, threatening to come in to try to get me, I don't have any of that stuff happen anymore. But it's like now, like even when I just go into a store, even though like a lot of people, they may not even pick up what I like to call the homeless/orphan energy off me, and they don't even think I'm homeless because people around here are in denial about youth homelessness, I still have this like idea that like, oh, I need to hurry up and go in here and buy whatever I'm gonna buy before like I get kicked out, or like I need to like maybe not be here too long or not stand here too long because somebody may call the police. Every time I see the police, I feel like they're called on me. I'm really starting to realize that actually being in Cali really traumatized me with all the police stuff. So yeah, that's actually really interesting because it's like I already have always saw myself and been reminded that I'm like subhuman pretty much, but it's like you definitely continue to go through trauma once you like get kicked out or run away or whatever, you're a dumped out foster kid and you're homeless. And it's like when I go in stores, it's like even though like people may not even think that I'm homeless, it's like even if I go in somewhere and I like buy something, you just kind of like, oh well, like I need to hurry up and get out of here, I need to like, maybe I shouldn't walk in here, like, oh, I'm not allowed in here. It's kind of like I feel like I see myself as a human being even less. That could be its own video, to be honest. But anyhow. So, now that I've trauma dumped a little bit, where am I? That should be... Oh yeah, the IHOP thing. My blood sugar went up to 217 after I drank half of a hot chocolate. But when I was 16, I pretty much lived at IHOP at 16. Like, back in GA, I have the video about the whole situation with the pimp from LA there. And I had already realized that I definitely had like some chemical sensitivity issues because like when I really started to get sick, I could not eat fast food anymore. Like, it was so painful, and it was like horrible. And like, IHOP it's a bunch of fake stuff. Like, I wouldn't even eat any of the meat from there. I wouldn't eat the eggs either. I don't even really eat bread anymore anyways, since getting sick. Since getting sick, I guess I could say. I don't know. But I really can't. But, example, February 25th, day 16, 12:27 p.m., BS. Because it is a bunch of BS. Was at 86. Not too high or too low. Wait a minute, did I read all? Okay, yeah, I think I read all of that. Not too high or too low. Yet I was hot, shaky, sweaty, and dizzy. BS wasn't rapidly rising or falling. So dysautonomia, homeostasis related, not blood sugar. C, random drops during sleep or sitting down below 70 no, I cannot see this, and on 18th at 1 a.m. To 2:35 equals pot/dysautonomia. So I'm random blood sugar dropping to 70 during sleep, and random spikes as well when laying down. So like the whole oh yeah, I forgot to say this part. So I was watching this video about POTS because I was like, I really need to watch a video about POTS and do some research on it, because I really never did, to be honest, even though I should have like years ago. And I think that like part of the thing was that like I wanted to like, I think like I rather had told myself that my issues were just caused by like SIBO or parasites, because I felt like that was like an easier fix. I think I also didn't want to like think, okay, maybe I do have trogenic like metabolic issues, and I mean, you're gonna get the brain damage regardless. But I didn't want to like tell myself like, I don't know, POTS or people used to think I had Crohn's and all types of stuff, but I didn't want to like think about any of those things because those aren't like easy fixes. And I feel like, I mean, in my previous situation, like going through like constant torture and being like in constant pain was like horrible. But like I even think about how, like I always mention how ever since I was 6, I always saw myself like escaping my abuse situation and running away right before the tribulation took off, and like living in the woods and like finding a jungle Tarzan boyfriend with like long hair. But then once I ran to Cali, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to San Diego and I'm going to find a surfer boy with long hair. That didn't happen. But anywho, I was thinking about all that, but it's like the more I got away from the gaslighting about how like bad my health actually was, and the whole just be positive or the straight up you're fine, the more I realized I actually don't have the health to really even be like doing all of this. Like I don't really have the health for like hunting and trying to like build a hut in the woods or any of that. It was kind of like a pipe dream, and that's what I was starting to realize. Like I can barely even like walk down the street. And also that reminds me of something else. Something I used to think about is how like when you live indoors, you really don't leave the house like at all. Well, that depends, but typically you spend most of your time in your house. So like if you have like serious like fatigue and mitochondrial dysfunction issues and metabolic issues, you may not even actually realize how sick you are because you don't really need to like use that much energy. But it's like, or like, wait a minute, when you're in like an abuse situation where you're not really allowed to go anywhere, you can't go outside, you can't like sit on the porch, you're lucky if you can even go to the bathroom by yourself. You have all that going on and you don't really go anywhere. That'll also make it harder for you to realize like how sick you actually are. Like I would say the little 3 months of school I got to go to made me realize that a little bit, because it's like I noticed that like walking was just like a lot of energy. I would fall asleep sitting straight up. I would fall asleep standing straight up in the little 3 months of school. Like the teachers, they thought I had leukemia or something. In fact, a couple of students even thought that I had cancer because of also because I was like really skinny. But it's also like what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, but the point is like once you get out here and you like have to spend most of your day, in some places more than others, walking around and running from cops and stuff, you start to realize like how not good your health actually is. Like walking up the street, like I remember I used to like think I was just like having DPDR that was actually like the dysautonomia and like blood sugar issues, but like walking around for like a while, and then I would like just get tired, or I would get dizzy and confused. Like I even remember like in my previous situation, like I would sometimes just like be on the quote unquote school bus, and I would just like forget where I was out of nowhere. Stuff like that would happen. And it's just like, okay, but the more like I started like testing myself and doing research, the more everything made sense. But it can be really easy to not even know that you have these types of issues if you're not really having to like do a lot of physical extensive stuff. Okay, 3. Recent SS vid. I can't even eat Jack in the wait. I can't see this. It's kind of dark. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, hold up. I can't even eat Jack in the Box without having to go to the ER. Oh yeah, so this is about a short screenshot video that I have. It's a YouTube short. If I remember, I'll put in the description. I'm pretty sure it's in the description of the my pre-vid that I have about this. But a lady was talking about on IG how she can't even eat Jack in the Box without having to go to the ER. And yeah, like I was already saying, and I've mentioned in other videos, once you start to get sicker, you do get chemical sensitivities, especially because your body can't detox all the bull crap anymore. And like he looked like some type of like professional type dude. Like I don't know if he was like a doctor or a lawyer, but he was doing the whole gaslighting stuff, the usual like American mental illness obsession stuff. Like maybe you just need to go to a psychiatrist. Like it's just so annoying how people like love to throw that bull crap around, yet so many Americans claim to be mentally ill, quote unquote, and they're all like on different prescription drugs. Like the people really don't even get how much America / Babylon and like even like Caucasoids are really gonna have to pay for like all these like evil, especially the serpent seed who really made this stuff. They're gonna have to pay for all these like evil systems that they created. Like I even have plenty of videos on different channels about how the pagan Roman Catholic Church and even like the jesters and the orphan stuff that would happen like in medieval Europe, that really led to the human cash cow systems and the cash for kids system. Like I have so many videos that I've made throughout the years on different channels about the Catholic Church baby scandals. They're gonna pay for these evil systems that they created, like psychiatry and all these different things that go hand in hand anyways. All this little chomo stuff. Anywho, but yeah, that's people's favorite insult. Get help, different little bullcrap like take your meds. And it's like, well, shoot, you see where the meds get people. And then it's like people are taking the meds and they're getting worse, so they're getting issues that they didn't have in the first place. So it's like, what in the world? You take the meds and then you go SHOT up a school. So, I mean, shoot. I mentioned before, when it comes to sick building syndrome, due to mold toxicity, I almost said mitochondrial dysfunction. I really cannot see this. Carbon monoxide toxicity. Wait a minute, what in the world did I just read? I mentioned before when it comes to... Oh, yeah. I mentioned how eventually, like, you can't take chemicals anymore, and you can't take, like, pathogens and mycotoxins or whatever anymore, so I think that's the point I was getting at. Hypothalamic energy deficiency signaling. That's on a bullet point note that I had wrote down, which was something I got back a couple of days ago after finally remembering to do research on my test results again. And that's what I had got back from AI about, like, some of the key markers in my blood work and stuff that really stood out to me. The low leptin, low C-peptide / pancreatic beta cell production, and low insulin. Yeah, so there's that. And then the next page I wrote, toxicity and overall poor air quality due to HVAC not doing the legal policy of, I believe it's like 30 air changes per hour. Your a room is supposed to legally be like completely swapped out of air and it's supposed to be like 30 air changes per hour. That's HVAC. I don't even think it's code. I think it's law, at least in California anyway. And I know like in Cal Green and sustainable construction, those rules are supposed to be like really strict with that. And that's why like I'm really glad that I studied sustainable construction and stuff and like green building like back in 2024 to 2025, because that like really helped all the stuff make even more sense to me actually. But anywho, according to construct, I already said that too. I think, no, I already read that. Well, anywho, building chemicals, tonsil removal. Wait a minute, now I'm confused. Building chemicals, tonsil removal, homeostasis issues with temperature and artificial light and white walls. I wrote those down because I was supposed to say something about those, but I don't really know exactly what. I can say that tonsil removal and tonsil issues, that's like the tonsils are a part of the immune system, so when that's screwed up, that causes more issues. And I do know that I get more sick in buildings. Like when I had that tonsil infection for a couple years, but when I got my tonsils removed finally, like I have to wear a mask, like especially like to sleep, but I have to wear a mask indoors, or like my throat swells up and it gets like dry and all types of stuff. But I also think like with the diabetes / metabolic syndrome, metabolic type issues, like when your body can't process stuff well, that also causes like some dehydration type stuff that can also make it easier for like your throat to get dry. But tonsil removal can definitely cause some issues, but having tonsil infections can also cause issues, which I'm pretty sure I have videos about that in my mitochondrial dysfunction playlist. I have some unlisted videos of like when I had the tonsil infection on the abuse evidence channels, but also in like some video titled calcium insubordination, which may be unlisted, maybe, but like I know in that video I talk about the degenerative disc disease and the tonsil infection, because I know also like with malnutrition and kidney type issues, like due to the malnutrition, your body is going to strip calcium from the bones and the teeth, which can also cause oral issues in general. But also like when you have like vitamin issues and all types of stuff going on, like calcium can get placed in places that it shouldn't be, and you can get calcium deposits, and tonsil stones are a form of calcium deposits. But I also believe that another reason I got tonsil stones because one, my health was just overall pretty bad, and also like when you're in like really bad situations, like hygiene can get harder to keep up. But also when you have digestive issues, you're gonna have acid reflux a lot, and throwing up food all the time, that can also cause like throat and oral issues and stuff like that. So I think that's why I wrote that. Why I get hotter indoors and can regulate better outside. I had to fight to open the windows and had to use a plug-in fan since the drugging at 12. I forgot that I had even wrote a note on that, but yeah, that goes into the homeostasis, which I already mentioned. I'm trying to remember where I'm at though. Pretty much the more sick you become, and the more your brain, organs, and mitochondria and cell trash can... Oh, I put brackets around that. I was supposed to remember what, oh my gosh. Wait a minute. What is it called? Was it called the liposomes? No. I remember what it looks like, but I can't remember what it was called. The cell trash can. It's in the nucleus, I think. It's like the squiggly things with the, I think, or was it is it the liposomes? Maybe it's not. Eukaryotic? No, that's not what that's called. A eukaryotic, that's a type of cell. Crap. I don't know, but and the cell trash can and detox pathway are down are down due to damage. And chemical and metabolic. What in the world does it say? Oh, waste overload. The more you can't take the chemicals in food, quote unquote food, or really anything. Did that even come out right? I feel like I got confused so many times. I forgot like what the sentence was supposed to like really mean altogether. Aside from neurotoxin psychotropics turning off the neurotransmitters that make the body work, this was this waste overload alone can cause MCS or CS, multiple chemical sensitivity, or just chemical sensitivities in general, I guess I could call it, and autoimmune issues in general, not to mention your hypothalamus controls immunity. As a side note, I also remember back in the day when I was obsessed with Nephilim, chimeras, and GMOs, I saw that it can take 3 generations for GMO foods effects to show in the DNA, like with mutations and different things like that. I assume in DNA, brain, and chromosome mutations, which can cause genetic predispositions to certain issues, of course, which can also make the psychotropic effects worse. So I typically don't eat fast food. This is the next bullet point. But on the 18th, the Resource Center had Chick-fil-A breakfast, bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit, and supposed scrambled eggs. They also had coffee. I didn't eat the bread because I can't. The only thing I ate the whole day was the biscuit, and I had to pee 15 times. Although my BS only went up to 139 at 10:37 a.m. after eating the biscuit. After 9:30 a.m., seed oils. No. Oh yeah, okay, I was confused. So my blood sugar went to 139 at 10:37, but I ate the food at 9:30, around 9:30 I guess. 9:30 a.m. seed oils caused spike and falling asleep, standing or sitting. Oh yeah, that's something I noticed even before before I had pieced this all together. I would notice it after I would eat seed oils, even back during my abuse situation, and even with school food and the little 3 months of school I went to. Once I would eat anything with seed oils in it or oil in it, where the oil was visible, I would fall asleep right then and there. Literally the moment I swallowed, I would fall asleep or start falling asleep. And of course that would be a blood sugar spike, not a crash, I would assume. I mean, it couldn't be a crash if I just ate it, so. And it's there would be a spike, then a crash, and then sometimes definitely spikes after the crash. And there would be that, and that was really interesting. I remember in my previous situation, I had to start cooking food in water. I would fry fish in water, I would fry eggs in water, which is honestly better anyways, because, well, not sink water, that wasn't the best, but it would cause it to hurt less, but it would still eventually hurt because I had low stomach acid, low HCl, which I didn't know about then. I wish I could have started taking HCl a long time ago. I still do think that if I could have started taking HCl and digestive enzymes years ago, it probably could have prevented a lot of things going as downhill as they did. Okay, I'm almost an hour in, or I pretty much am now, so I gotta hurry up. I learned during the constant 50 blood sugar months in North Carolina and NY, and even definitely back in Cali before I started checking my blood sugar, due to cold and more chemicals in food, at least in NC and New York, the chemicals in the cold. And Cali was pretty cold too, but the chemical thing wasn't the worst, wasn't really that much of an issue back in Santa Cruz, but they were vegans and they did eat a lot of pasta, and I could not eat pasta, and I didn't even know like how bad I really couldn't eat pasta then. I just knew that I couldn't eat it, but I knew it had something to do with carbs, but I didn't really want to admit the blood sugar side because I was still believing the gaslighting for a while. But all the walking around that I had to do in Cali and even in Oregon was horrible. And it's funny because like the West Coast has the best public transportation, but I still had to do so much walking around, and it still caused so much blood sugar issues and splitting, and I didn't even like really piece it all together yet, but I knew it definitely had something to do with like not being able to make enough energy. And so now I gotta remember where I was even at. So 50 blood sugar months. Hold up. Chemicals in food. Oh yeah, like people even talk about how like in the UK you can't really get fruit when it's not fruit season. In America you have fruit and apples and strawberries year round. That's not normal, which I mean, of course I already knew like the food is GMO. Like apples and oranges aren't even real anyways. In fact, there's this one dude, he's like one of the chosen ones who went into New Age, and he like has this one song where he talks about how like certain animals aren't real animals, and I know like in the song he says chickens aren't real animals, and something else isn't real animals, but it's like the fruit isn't real fruit either. People are always like talking about why you shouldn't eat meat, and the meat isn't even meat anyways. The meat has been people and lab made bullcrap and all types of stuff. Like shoot, I'd rather eat a horse or a rat, to be honest, than what the meat really is half the time. And I don't really get why people like feel some type of way about eating horse meat and dog meat though. Like I mean, yeah, maybe you could say it's unclean, but I don't really get why like people, I mean shoot, if you eat a pig you'll eat anything, I feel. But I don't get why people will be like, I don't know, this is kind of like an irrelevant thing, but I don't really get why people say the horse meat is bad, and they'll be like, oh, like this place is giving us horse meat and they said it's beef. The lion is bad, but I don't really get why eating horse meat would necessarily be bad. But I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. But either way, anywho, in New York, the fruit even caused like horrible blood sugar spikes, and it was really, really bad because like there was nothing else to eat, and I just had to like, I literally was just like constantly fighting like drops, like literally. And it seems like in certain places like I have like worse issues, but I was definitely doing like a lot of moving around in New York. And then I had oh yeah, but I was saying though, because I started dissociating, I was saying that like even the fruit caused issues, and the pesticides and all the chemicals and stuff to like preserve it, it was absolutely horrible. Okay, so I should probably kind of start over. 50 BS months in NC and NY due to cold and chemicals in food, or more chemicals in food, and constant movement in NY. And too stagnant in NC, I think. Dysautonomia related. Certain places due to redlining and eugenics agendas, and others due to low no farms. They call it food deserts and something else, I think. And preservatives. More chemicals in food due to redlining. That's something I used to research a lot, but now it makes things make even more sense. I used to research that a lot, but it makes a lot of things make even more sense. And it's like, I don't know, I feel like when things stop working, it makes you actually research how the body should work even more, and it makes you think more about how complex the body is once things aren't working anymore. Have more dangerous, I think I already read that. Probably die if I lived there long term, like especially like NC. Like that's not even a place, I couldn't even live in Winston like right now if I wanted to, because like I just can't take the chemicals in the food anymore. It's actually like really crazy. Like I literally would die because my blood sugar would be like at 50 and 280 every day or whatever if I was to live in NC. And it's like but so I guess maybe I'm not as suicidal as I think I am half the time, but carbs are worse than sugar. Side note, bullet point. Next bullet point, UB So POTS would be why riding the Greyhound causes constant 50s. I forgot all about this. Riding the Greyhound is absolutely terrible. All types of 50 blood sugars, constantly having to eat stuff to try to get it back up, and then constantly going back down, and sitting down too long, needing sunlight, needing to walk around. Definitely dysautonomia and POTS. I always felt like that had something to do with circulation. I'm getting too excited talking about it, but I felt like that had something to do with like circulation issues. I always did, because it made absolutely no sense. Like, I get horribly sick. I get terrible symptoms riding the Greyhound, like especially all my cross-country trips, like 7+ days, and absolutely horrible. Blood sugars at 50 the whole entire time, like literally. Blurry vision, sweaty, too hot, too cold, etc. issues. I cannot see this at all. I previously thought it was just circulation issues and sugar buildup due to long sitting and poor circulation. Also stuff with artificial lights. UB. It's supposed to stand for use bathroom, but I don't even mention that in that paragraph I just read, so I don't know. But I definitely have to pee a lot in the Greyhound as well. And I also get diarrhea a lot in the Greyhound, which is interesting. I don't even know, am I oversharing? But that is like, but oh my gosh, that reminds me, that last Greyhound bus, I did not notice that there was a mirror. I'm not a mirror, well, there was a mirror too, but a window in the bathroom. That was like, and then it was like horribly positioned. It was like literally so low down. That was like, who in the world? Anywho, 220, 55 carb chocolate milk had me peeing all night into the next day. But due to IC, not BS. So that means my blood sugar didn't like spike. HCl and enzymes can sometimes worsen this. I think due to liver bile flow and kidney stuff. But then apparently like better digestion can cause more mast cell activation and a lot of stuff I can't remember. So HCl can also like worsen due to that. I can't really remember how that exactly works. Where am I? Worsen protein. So worsen proteinuria and high urine pH, I really been had from, I don't know, not being able to break down fat and protein, I guess. Well, BS, leaky gut, and whatever else. Kidneys also filter the blood and protein in the blood. I cannot, what in the world is this? 50. So 9 p.m. chocolate milk, had to pee at 10 p.m. 11:56 p.m. Then on the 21st, I had to pee at 3 a.m., 5 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., etc. 9 a.m. drunk activated charcoal water, and then I didn't have to use the bathroom till at least 11, but then at 12:30, which I feel like maybe was like letting out some of the metabolic waste. But then I started to use the bathroom at 1 p.m. and then I ate something at 3 p.m. So yeah, there was that. Funny enough, when I do have spikes every once in a while, it makes me have to pee less. And that's something I thought about, because I noticed that like when I eat things that people say would give somebody a blood sugar spike, I actually don't have to pee. It seems like actually having high blood sugars actually makes me not have to pee all night, and I at least don't have to pee till like the next morning. But yeah, I even noticed like in my previous situation, like having to use the bathroom all the time, and it was hard to really go to sleep because I had to pee so much. And then when I had the bad pelvic floor dysfunction stuff going on, all that weird stuff, using the bathroom actually hurt really bad. And it didn't really matter like what in the world was going on, because like it was actually like really crazy, because I'm having flashbacks like kind of thinking about it. But like even having to pee like caused all types of like weird muscle spasms and stuff, because of like the metabolic waste buildup. But then there's also this thing where like if I hold it, or even if I feel like I don't have to pee, I still, even now, like will have to get up in the morning because I have to pee really bad, and it's hard to really ignore. But my ICS went down because I've been like regulating a lot of stuff, but it's still kind of like, I don't know. It reminds me of when my IC and spine / quote unquote DDD pain would get worse when my blood sugar was low in the past, or when I would eat like a lot of fat or protein. Anyways, it got cold again at night on the 23rd, 10 p.m. So I went to IHOP, since it's a few minutes away from my camp, to sit in there. I wanted to get something so I can sit inside. I should have got water, to be honest. But I was like, if I'm going to spend my money on something, I'd rather not get something I already have. But I don't know, though. Because when I think about the options, honestly, but that goes into something else that I mentioned in another video, I think. Like, it would be, I don't drink soda. I actually never liked soda or sugary stuff. I didn't even start eating, like, gummy worms till I had hypoglycemia really bad, unbeknownst to me. But it's like, I never did like that, but it would actually be better for me to drink, like, a soda than for me to drink, like, the healthy smoothie bowl crap, because, like, fruit smoothies and stuff, like, when you strip, like, the juice from the fruit, there's no fiber. Not that I can eat fruit anyways, I can't even eat fruit, but it's worse when it's like a smoothie, and it causes, like, pretty much it's higher carb, to make a long story short, because I'm about to, like, make it too complicated. It's higher carb and it causes more pain and issues, like, even protein drinks and stuff like that, like Ensure, all that bullcrap the doctors may tell you to drink, that stuff actually makes it worse when you have metabolic issues. It's a bunch of chemicals and artificial sugars, and a lot of it is high carb. Some of it isn't, but even that makes me have to pee all day. I may have to do a part 2 actually, because this is way too long. I want to get, where am I? Well, no, because this is way too long, so I'm going to do a part 2.